we're starting our briefing. Yesterday, the units of the anti-terrorist operation took the city of Yasynovato, Donetsk region, which is an important railway point. The liberation of the city allowed to encircle Donetsk from north and to cut off one of the important channels of delivery of arms and machinery to terrorists. At the moment, the operation for discovering and liquidation of the remnants of terrorist bandits is going on. Over the last day, the units of the armed forces of Ukraine 39 times exchanged fire within vicinity of settlements Майорське, Красногорівка, Чорногорано, Партизан, Соколова, Балка, Дяково, Луганськ, Новоганівка, Світла Кам'янка, Новий Світ, Піски, Зеленопілля, Нижня Талівка, Нижній Мінчинок. And the night against the 4th of August, the activity of bandit formations was higher, and the intensity of shelling and firing at the positions of ATO was higher, including firing and shelling from Grad batteries, tanks, and mortars. 5 times they fired at the Ukrainian positions from the territory of Russian Federation. For instance, at 9 p.m., the artillery fire from Russians hit Ukrainian army in the vicinity of Chervonopartizansk, and the mortar fire hit the positions of Ukrainian troops next to Zelenopilya. At midnight, the Russian military fired at Ukrainian military in the vicinity of Dyakove, and they also shelled with artillery fire the Ukrainian bodyguards, and from mortars a Ukrainian firing squad in the vicinity of the settlement of Komishne. Today at 4:30 a.m. there was a planned operation to deblock Ukrainian army units in the vicinity of Chervonopartizansk. The major part of Ukrainian military have successfully performed their task, and they left for the safe place, and part of our military have to retreat to the Russian territory. At the moment, the Ukrainian side is doing everything possible to return our military to their bases. Ukrainian law enforcers are continuing the checkup of Slovyansk, Debaltseve, and Kramatorsk. After their liberation from the militants, the local population provides information about persons who were taking part in terrorist activity. Over the last 24 hours, the National Guards have detained a group of suspects who helped the activity of the so-called Donetsk People's Republic. Those are former convicts, local residents. It is known that one of the detained is the former commander of the bandit group in Shield. The groups of civil military cooperation of the armed forces are continuing their work in the zone of the anti-terrorist operation. Daily they held meetings with local residents, representatives of local authorities, and heads of village councils. In particular, they are solving the issues of restoration of infrastructure and provision of social and everyday help. On the temporarily controlled territories, the terrorists are robbing local population, they are kidnapping local residents, and they are seizing private houses and cars. And we call upon local residents to leave the territories seized by the terrorists. In order to accept forced resettlers near Donetsk and in the city of Shastya, Luhansk region, we have organized 2 additional points for meeting people who are taking humanitarian corridors. And the corridor to the city of Shasta was used by 967 people from Luhansk. And the Ukrainian units have defused 163 mines and explosives. The Prime Minister of Romania, Victor Ponta, has not excluded a possibility of the worsening of economic relations between Romania and Russia, and he also placed the responsibility for destabilization of situation in the east of Ukraine on the leadership of Russia. Vice Chancellor of Germany, Sigmar Gabriel, recognized that sectoral sanctions of EU against Russia will have negative effects for the economy of Germany, but he said that the preservation of peace and provision of security in Europe is much more important than the loss of several percent of the possible economic growth. And the Russian aviation airlines Dobrolет is suspending its flights to Crimea because of the annulment by European agents the leasing agreements on technical servicing and insurance of their flights.
Eduard Krasnivsky, you told that some militarymen retreated to Russian territory. You speak about 437 Ukrainian militarymen. Do you confirm that information? No. I'm talking about a militaryman of that brigade which split. A bigger part broke through to the territory which is under the control of our armed forces. The other part, we cannot give you numbers. How many of them they had to move to the territory of Russian Federation? The main task is to preserve their lives, and we achieved that. What is happening to those militarymen who crossed the Russian border? And what about Chervonopartizansk? Is the equipment? Thank you for your question. All details. We are collecting information on all details. We don't have data yet. As far as I know, during the operation, there is no unit. They didn't leave any workable unit of military equipment. We want to find our journalist who contacted us during the task in Rostov region in Russia. He was in the camp of refugees there. After that, we had no communication with him. Yesterday, we received information that our journalist is among National Guards. They arrested him. Do you know anything about that? Could you help us to set contacts with National Guards where he can be? There were several similar requests come up after this briefing. We'll try to clarify everything. We found all who were looked for. Do you know anything? Maybe you can give more details about the humanitarian corridors organized from Luhansk, Donetsk, and Horlovka as an agreement with gunmen to cease fire from 12 to 2, because we received the information and the press center of ATO published that information. An agreement with local authorities communicate with terrorists. Military men, we organize a meeting those people. We are responsible for the security of that corridor. As soon as they are on the territorial, which is under control of ATO, we provide all necessary assistance to them, all possible assistance. Then, through any channel of information, we spread information that they can leave through those corridors. So we use all channels: internet, local authorities, radio, regional, even leaflets. Could you clarify the number of murdered and wounded Ukrainian military men? During the last day, 5 military men died and 14 were wounded. We have information from Russian mass media. We need to check it, that 400 of Ukrainian military men, they wanted to get political asylum in Russia. In Rostov region, and there is a green corridor for those military men, and 140 of them, they are from Ukrainian border guards service. There are the representatives from border guard service and also from military, but there is no information about that they seek asylum. They are there in Russia, but now we do necessary work to turn them back to Ukraine, and we communicate through the diplomatic channels with them. Are they considered to be as military captives? We have our representative from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and he negotiates how to make them return to Ukraine. No more details. Can you give a precise number? We don't have it. What is the situation with crossing the border of Russian equipment? And what do Ukrainian armed forces do to prevent that? To stop smuggling Russian weaponry? The answer is very short. You've heard about Yasinovatia. So Ukrainian armed forces do everything possible to liberate the territory from terrorists, and then we'll deal with the border. There are some parts of the border which are not under our control, but we observe any movement of equipment, and we receive that information 24 hours.
Civilians to get out of the way and leave the territory that is controlled by rebels. Are you trying to get residents, trying to get civilians out of the line of fire as you step up your offensive in Donetsk?
Thank you for questions. Не дуже було чутно, но в принципі зрозумів.
We are using all possible means of communication, including people who are there, activists. They spread information among civilians how they can leave those cities, blocked cities. That city is blocked for terrorists. It's not, and that doesn't include civilians. We are ready to receive all the civilians who want to leave Donetsk, Luhansk, or Orlovka, and we are ready to provide any assistance they need.
A diplomatic communication with the Ukrainian military who are now on the territory of Russian Federation. Do you mean the part of the brigade that you mentioned previously? No, we do not name the location or the number of the brigade. And apart from this part of the brigade, no one is now on the territory of the Russian Federation. No, no one. Any other questions? Can you tell us, yesterday, advisor to the president, Andriy Lysenko, said that there's a plan to take Donetsk, which will be an unexpected thing for quite a number of people. Can you comment on this, or maybe tell us about the dates? Thank you. I will now tell you how many people, where, and when they are going. I just confirmed there is a plan. And my second question is, today in Minsk, the trilateral talks are going on, and there's an information that the Russian side is going to insist on the introduction of peacekeeping force. Are there any grounds to worry in this context? The matter is that, according to international practice, the peacekeeping force may be introduced only upon the decision of the United Nations. If there's a decision to introduce peacekeeping force on any part of the territory of Ukraine, it has to have consent from both sides, from both countries. So far, we don't have any statement from the United Nations or any consent from the country. So intentions are still intentions. Besides, we wage a liberation war. We are liberating our territory from bandits, from terrorists, and we know that American congressmen have already voiced the initiative about the recognition of the so-called Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics as terrorist organizations. As soon as this decision is taken, the attitude in the world will be quite different. What can be the results of this U.S. Congress decision? Will this create any obligations for the United States to react in a different way and to help Ukraine with concrete military things? If this is an international obligation, then there's a number of regulations that act for any country that is joined the fight against international